Hello and welcome to the Blitz Business Development Show. My name is Mayo and I'm a business consultant and coach as well as the founder of the Blitz Business Development Academy. This is the show that provides guidance, resources, and access to best practices to help you advertise, manage, and build geometric profits. From freelancers and home-based business owners to startups and storefronts, you will learn how to start small as you think and grow big. Hello and welcome to the Blitz Business Development Show. I'm your host, Mayo Best. And today, guys, we've got a very, very special show. Now, I know that we talk a lot about business development. We talk about personal development, and we're always basically trying to drop those gems for you and your business so that you can actually have the best business that you can possibly have or experience. However, it's actually extremely rare that we get the opportunity to get in front of a little just phenom, somebody who has over 45 years of experience. And you guys know me, I love nuance. I love to get access to people who have been there, done that, wore the t-shirt twice removed, and have basically, scorched the earth with making mistakes and doing everything that we all want to do. And they've done that. And if we can get access to them, then that is literally priceless, folks. Okay. These are things you just simply can't just learn just by watching YouTube, because these people have knowledge and experience and what I love to call nuance. So with that said, today we have one of the most successful business development and business consultants in the country. Guys, we're talking about folks who've done work with like Auto Trader. Now, for those that don't remember Auto Trader, it's a multi-million-dollar publication. And he's also actually been working with Publix grocery store. Listen, I don't want to give everything up, but listen, you guys have got to check this episode out. So without further ado, folks, let me introduce you to our next guest. Check it out. Carl Lucchi has over 45 years of marketing and business development experience. He has helped to build some of the most successful businesses in the country, such as Auto Trader, Publix grocery stores, and many, many more. Carl has also gained priceless insights with amazing business mentors and openly admits that he has made thousands of mistakes, but what he has learned from those mistakes gives him a wealth of knowledge and wisdom that he offers to every client that he works with. So stay tuned as we pick the brain of one of the best business consultants of our time, Mr. Carl Lucchi. All right, folks, we are finally here. It has taken 12 episodes to get to the man, the myth, and the legend, Mr. Carl Lucchi. Now, I'm not going to tell you how he really pronounces his name, but we're going to say Lucchi because I'm dying to say it. But I love Lucchi, actually. It's what rolls off the tongue, and I guess we're going to go with Lucchi today. So anyway, we have him here, and we're going to have a good time today, and we're going to learn a lot, folks. So as I always tell you guys, you want to definitely get your pens, get your paper out so we can catch these gems, okay? So we have someone, folks, that has been in business for quite some time. He is very good at what he does and works with some pretty notable folks if you've been around. So make sure that you pay attention. So without further ado, folks, I'm going to give you guys Mr. Carl Lucchi.
Hey, thanks, Mayo.
All right. So Carl, let's just dive right into my first question that I have for you, which is, where are you originally from?
Well, I was born and raised in Florida, and I'm still in Florida. It was a little town called Lakeland, which is not so little anymore. Florida's kind of all congealed to one big conglomerate because there's over 1,000 people a day moving here.
Right.
But I was born and raised in Florida, and I still live here. I now live on the Gulf Coast over around the St. Pete Clearwater area.
Okay, awesome. And what was it like growing up there?
Well, I moved from Lakeland when I was about 11 over to the Gulf beaches. So I grew up on the beaches, and really, as a kid, you enjoy it, but you don't really realize how great you have it until you get older and look back and say, man, I had something other people don't have. I mean, we lived right on the beach. It was great when you woke up in the morning, and living in the area was great. Because I grew up on the beach, I lost a lot of my real Southern accent. It comes back when I talk with Southern people, but I lost a lot of it because everybody was a tourist and everybody was from other parts of the country. And unless they were from the South, I kind of lost my accent, which some people say was good. Some people say it was bad, but it's hidden in there somewhere.
So let me ask you this. How do you feel your childhood influences some of the work that you do now?
Interesting question. I'll tell you what, my father was in sales. Okay. And he was, I think, 50 years ahead of his time. And I can remember my dad telling me one time, we were watching our black and white TV, and we have a shopping mall near us. And I think I was about 16, 17 years old. And at Christmas time, all the shopping malls would be packed with people. And the news people had a helicopter over this shopping mall, and they were reporting at how many people were going in and flooding the malls to buy, and all the cars were lined up to try to get into the mall. And he said to me, he says, why do you think people are going there? I said, well, it's Christmas, He said, well, yeah, but why are they going there? I said, well, because they want to buy stuff. He said, yeah. He said, but none of them want to be sold. He said, what do you think would happen if all the stores put somebody outside the front of the store with a hook? And as they walk by, they just hooked people and pulled them in and tried to sell them something. I said, well, nobody would go there. He said, you're right. He said, so what they do is they create a buying environment. They do that with the window dressing and the sale. They do things to get them to come in, and then they put all the cheap stuff in the back and all the expensive stuff in the front, so that you have to go buy the expensive stuff, hoping that you'll buy the expensive stuff before you get to the cheap stuff. And I'm sitting there thinking, I'm 16. What the hell is he talking about? Okay. It didn't make any sense to me. And he died at 82. And it was after he passed away that I realized all these gems that he passed on to me. So when I was a kid, and they stuck, and he said, you don't have to sell if you create a buying environment, and you can do that whether you're in front of somebody or whether you have a brick and mortar store. And I just didn't understand it until after he had passed away. And I wish I had understood it before that. But, so growing up was a very integral part of what I do today.
Now that's pretty cool. I mean, because myself, as someone who is, I like to consider myself a student of sales, and I've definitely had some pretty extensive sales training in my time. But to grow up and learn buyer psychology and learn buyer behavior in a very intuitive way like that, that's got to be phenomenal. It was subliminal because I didn't know that he was teaching me, but I was still getting it.
Wow. Plus I've had other great mentors, even when I was young. I worked for a grocery chain, and I knew I was Publix Markets. If anybody out there knows what that is, it's a dynasty in the grocery industry. And I knew the founder, and he sat me down and told me a lot of stuff that, was very, it made impressions on me. And he too was way ahead of his time. That's why it's a dynasty today. So I think it's over a $4 billion company. I may be off $1 billion or $2 billion, but
Carl, at what point did you determine that you had an interest in business? At what point did it click for you?
As far as entrepreneurial aspect, or just working for other people?
Okay. Well, entrepreneurial.
Okay. After I had worked for the former owner of the Auto Trader, and he had sold that for $1 gazillion, and he went into the television production business. And I had retired from Publix, the grocery chain, and I was looking for something else to do. I didn't know what, but I didn't want to be in a management role anymore. I was burned out on working for somebody else. But I thought, let me see what this guy wants. So I went and I interviewed with him, and he said, I'm looking for a business developer. And we've got a lot of money we can play with. And all we need is we can build 10 businesses. 8 of them can fail. If we make money on 2 of them, I'm happy. So I thought, well, that's great. We're playing with his money. So I was kind of forced into learning how to build a business, come up with a concept, an idea, build it from scratch, and then make it work. but I had the luxury of not worrying about the finances. Okay.
Nice.
Except that he was very difficult to work with, because if I needed a box of number 2 pencils, I better damn well prove why I needed those pencils, but as far as the development of the company and the tough part of investing in it, I didn't have those worries, which was, I thought I'd found heaven. Okay. But then he had 4 $1 million homes, a 104-foot yacht, and a young girlfriend. And he had everything he needed. He decided not to be in the television production business anymore. It was called CPN Television. Mm-hmm. And we did all kinds of production. So I got a lot of video production knowledge as well. And so when I went in one day and I said, "You look like you're getting ready to retire. I think you need to fire me." And he said, "I don't want to fire you." And I said, "Well, I want you to fire me because I think I want to go out on my own." And he said, "Well, why do I have to fire you?" I said, "Because I might need unemployment for a while until I get going." And he laughed. He says, "Okay, we can do that." So I took the knowledge I had from one of the companies that I had developed for him, and I knew that if he wasn't going to invest a lot of money in it, it wasn't sexy. It was a business making money, but it wasn't fun for him, and I knew he wasn't going to do much with it. So I took it home and I ran it for a bit, then started learning how to do HTML, build websites and things like that in the early days, 89, 90, around there. And then somebody told me about this, asked me to go to a networking meeting. And I thought, what the hell is a networking meeting? I've been working for people all my life. So I went to this thing and I saw these people in the room, and they're going around the room doing elevator pitches and all this. And the guy at the front, ran it. It was called FNI, Free Networking International. And so I said, "Can I have one of these one-on-one things that you all talk about with you?" He said, "Sure." So we sat down and I said, "How many members do you have?" Because I'm a business developer and that's where my head goes. Mm-hmm. And he said, "Well, I got about 6,000 members." And I said, "But it's free for people to go." He said, "Yeah, I thought everybody was going to buy my tapes and books. So I found out that once it's free, they want everything for free." Yep. And he said, so he said, and to be honest with you, Mayo, I was listening, but I wasn't hearing. Okay. And so I said, "Well, geez, it seems like you could do, you know what? I'm a business developer. Let me do this." So I went home and I bought a domain name called Tampa Bay Networkers. It's still there today, TampaBayNetworkers.com. And I said, let me go home and work on something. I'm going to come back to you. So I went home and I did the precursor to LinkedIn, Facebook, and all that. Okay. Very primitive, but that was my concept. And I said, everybody that networks, whether they're with your group or a BNI or pick 3 letters as the name of a networking organization, they can all converge in one location to communicate and network with each other. So I went back to him and says, "Nah, I'm getting out of it. I'm going to close it down." I said, "Look, if you'll keep it, everybody knows you. They like you. They trust you. They don't know me. I'll do the back end." I wasn't thinking about doing any marketing. Mm-hmm. And he said, "No, I don't want to do that." I said, "Well, look, we'll charge them $50 a year. I'll give you 25. If you can get 3,000 of your 6,000, that's a pretty good paycheck for you just doing it." Right. Mm-hmm. And I said, "Then we'll make it grow from there." "No, I don't want to do it." I thought, "Oh man, here I've built this website, don't know what I'm going to do with it." So I started going to all these meetings and I said, "I've got this thing. If you want to do it, it's $49 a year." And people kept saying, "Carl, where are your meetings?" I said, "I don't have meetings. This is a place where meetings can go." "Yeah, but why don't you have meetings?" So you only have to hit me over the head about 6 times for me to pay attention. So I started doing what he did, and I did the meetings the way he did. Right. And then I was sitting down doing these one-on-one things with people, finding out and I found out that I knew more than I thought I knew. Right. I didn't know that people didn't know what I knew.
Right.
Okay. So I started offering free consulting, to help them, because most of the people that I was meeting with couldn't afford to pay a coach or a consultant. Right. So why to try to charge them? Right. Right. And I wasn't living off of this this wasn't what I was doing for a living. Mm-hmm. And so I started helping people, and fast forward, I found that I could help a lot of people. Okay. And still make some money. Mm-hmm. I make money, but it's by accident. I don't ever send anybody a bill. Okay. Mm-hmm. And so I've been doing free consulting now for about 13 years, since 2010. So about 12 years. And I enjoy it. So you asked me, how I got to where I'm getting to where I wanted to be an entrepreneur. No, that's how I got to where I'm at.
Interesting. I wanted to go back to something you said. I thought that was pretty interesting when you said that you had to learn how to take a business and an idea, you said, of a business, a concept, and pretty much get proof of that concept and make it work from scratch.
Right.
Can you talk a little bit about that process? Because I think there's a lot there.
Yeah. I think a lot of people go into business with the idea that they like something. And if they like it, everybody's going to like it. So let me make a business out of it.
Right.
Okay. That could be so far from the truth. You couldn't believe it. Okay. Yes. And that's why a lot of people get very dismayed. It's like when websites first came out. Oh, all I need is a website. People will go there and I'm going to make all kinds of money. That's not true. Okay. It takes more than just having a website. So basically what I learned from, Stuart, at CPN television, is that because he developed the Auto Trader and he gave me the formula that he used for success for that, he said I had to create something that was different and distinct or I would become extinct. And so what I tell people in workshops that I've done on sales and marketing and on success alone is that if you're not distinct at what you do, you may become extinct. Yeah. Okay. You need to change the wording and you need to change the methodology that you use in your business so that you're different than the guy down the street. Otherwise, you're just another guy down the street.
That's right.
And so the first thing is to do your damn research. Find out what other people are doing. Find out if they are successful. Look at the ones that aren't successful and look at the ones that are and find out what the ones that are successful are doing and steal from them. Okay. I invite people to steal from me all the time. Okay.
Right.
Steal from them. My gosh, that's working. Mayo, I got to tell you, one of the most frustrating things as a business consultant is when I find somebody that has something, let's say it's similar to what the Auto Trader was. And I know what the formula was for his success. And I tell the people, I tell them the story and I say, you could plug your business right into this and do it. And they say, no, I think I want to do it this way. And I say, why don't you at least try this?
Right.
You can change. You have to change, pivot. Times are different, whatever, but why don't you at least, and they say, I think I want to do it my way. But you know what? Go ahead. So that makes it really frustrating. So, capitalize on what the people do as successful, right?
Right.
And most of those people, believe it or not, because I've worked with several multimillionaires that were successful, they love for you to ask them, how did you do it? They're proud of it.
Right.
What do you think I need to do? They will. You don't need to pay a coach or a consultant if you're talking to somebody that's done it.
That's true.
Okay. If they're willing to share it. And if they don't, find another one that will. So the second thing is find a mentor. If you don't want to call me, call somebody because, find a mentor, somebody that's willing to help you in your success.
I have a question for you. I want to jump in real quick. What would you say to those folks that say, but I got YouTube. I can look it up online.
How's that working for you?
Right. Right.
Hey, if it's working for you, keep doing it. I'm not, hey, look, if what you're doing is working, why are you talking to me? Just keep on doing it. What Einstein say? Keep doing the same things the same way, expect different results. Keep doing it. It's up to you. So, do it your own way. I never argue with anybody about what they're doing. I just say, look, keep an open, as I've said before, your brain works best like a parachute when it's open. Right. When you close your brain, then you find out that you don't know what you thought you knew because things change all the time. I always make the case, and I ask you that question because I always make the case for right now. We are definitely not suffering for lack of information. We've almost got too much information. You're right.
The problem is we don't have enough of what I like to call, and I know my listeners are like, here you go again. But I have to keep pushing this, guys, because even though we get different guests on here, you're starting to notice a pattern.
Yep.
That what we don't have enough of a lot of times now is nuance.
Yes.
Nuance comes in the shape or form of experience. And there's certain things that you find out, and especially with creating businesses, and that not only does everything count that Carl just said in terms of doing your research, you also have to innovate. Like, one of the things that I constantly push, instead of always be closing ourselves, always be innovating. Always be innovating. That's how you basically position yourself so that you do not become obsolete. And the great thing about this, I found, Carl, that for a lot of the concepts that I do, I have to build things like you did from scratch.
Yeah.
There's no instructions and none of that stuff. However, in the beginning, when I first started making my own products, solutions, and services, I would find that 80% of the time I would fail. And it's because I didn't do what you were just talking about. Didn't do enough research. Just going off of my whims that I thought were really good. Now, I had decent instincts, but when I first started, one of the biggest mistakes that I made is that I was just too late to the game. So I wasn't going into a trend. The technology was already out, but like you just said, that's why you have to do your research. Now, you fast forward about 10 years later, and now I win far more than I lose when I create something.
Yeah.
Because you get the formula, you develop the formula for success, but it takes a lot of trial and error. And then before you know it, and see, this to me, tell me what you think about this, Carl.
Okay.
This is why I believe you have people like Elon Musk, you have your Jeff Bezos and Steve Jobs, the late Steve Jobs, of course, and Bill Gates. I think that what these guys do is they figure out their formula for success and then they duplicate it. And it doesn't really matter which area they go into. They take that same approach that got them to where they are. They build upon it, get better and better. And before you know it, the Pareto principle will fall into your favor in time. And it'll be more 80-20 your favor than your losses. And I think that it goes beyond 80 at some point. You start basically almost batting 100, and because you learn how to succeed by learning through the process of failing. What do you think about that?
I couldn't agree more. I mean, I agree 100%. But it also, if you don't mind me adding something to that.
Absolutely.
Because this is part of your question, is I tell people to quit following conventional wisdom. About 97% of it is wrong. Always question it. Just because everybody else is doing it this way doesn't necessarily mean it's right. I mean, at one time, everybody thought the earth was flat. If we still wanted to believe that, we'd be falling off the edge, I guess. Okay. So because we found out it wasn't, right? But everybody believed it, so everybody followed it. Everybody believed it, right? So always question it. If everybody's doing it this way, maybe there's a different way. That's part of being distinct and not becoming extinct. Every one of the people you're talking about do not follow or have not followed conventional wisdom. They've done things their way. They did it different.
That's true.
They stood out, okay? And then another part of it, a sidebar here, is they did things that were duplicatable.
Yes.
Every time they do it's something duplicate. They didn't build one phone. They didn't, they didn't do one of anything. They made it to where the masses could absorb it and buy a lot of them, okay, and keep buying. And then what they do is come out with phase 2, and then they sell that, okay. So once they have the platform and the formula, then they keep doing it. That's what Stuart did with the auto trader, okay. His philosophy was, I'd rather make a nickel off 90% of them than a dime off 10th of them, okay. And he did that, okay. And he gave, the story is fantastic for another day. Okay. But and I'd be happy to share it with anybody, but anyway, so that, I tell you, quit following conventional wisdom. Okay. Or if you think it is so, that's when you need to question it the most. Okay. Find out if there's a better way. Find out if there's a way you can do it different, because that's what's going to make, and you were talking about coming to the game late. Okay. I'm not a Bill Gates. I'm not, people say, well, how can you talk about that, Carl, like you're so smart? No, I'm not so smart. I've worked with smart people, but I have over 45 years of making mistakes.
Right.
And I have 45, I probably spent $450,000 doing it. And now I got the formula. That sucks. Okay. If I got to be honest with you, if I had me back when I was 20, I'd be on the back of my yacht in the south of France somewhere, and you and I wouldn't be talking. Right. But I didn't have me. Okay.
Right.
So I tell people, maybe I can cut you down maybe 40 years and maybe $425,000 I can save you. Mm-hmm. Just pick my brain, and take what you want, throw the rest out. I don't care, but at least have an open mind. So anyway, that's.
Wow. So, Carl, what inspires you to do this type of business? What inspires you to do this?
My wife thinks I'm crazy. I'm semi-retired. My dad had another saying. He said, "If you keep moving, they can't plant you." Right. So what really I spend more hours researching than most people do working. Okay.
Right.
I'm a research nut. I'm always looking for new ways to help people in their business and learning. And yes, YouTube is valuable to me. Okay. I wish it was around 30, 40 years ago, but I watch a lot of videos. I read a lot of articles. I read a lot about business. Mm-hmm. But it's what I do for fun. People ask me what I do for fun. People find it hard to believe, but I work 7 days a week. Now I don't work as much on Saturday and Sunday, but I work 7 days a week.
Me too.
And another thing I tell people going into business, it's the hardest thing you ever did. You're not going to have days off. You're not going to have.
That's right.
Don't even look at the clock when you get up in the morning. Just understand you're going to work after hours, if you want to be successful. And if you don't want to be successful, then you just do whatever you want to do. But I like working with people who refuse to fail. Okay. And that's why I called my group, I Refuse to Fail. So anyway, but I do it because I enjoy it. I don't know. It's just something that keeps me going. It keeps my brain. I think they say it's good for Alzheimer's if you're reading and, to fend off dementia and stuff like that. And so far, I think I'm pretty good. What was your name again? but anyway, but it just keeps me, and I'll work with people my age, but I really enjoy finding that diamond in the rough that's a 20 something or 30 something that is like a sponge and is willing to absorb and try stuff. Right. I'm working with 3 of them right now that I'm having a ball. Okay.
Right.
And to see their success would be like a paycheck to me. They don't have to write me a check.
Yeah.
But so that's what keeps me going. That's why I do it. But I did have a talk with Carl when I was 65 and I turned 65 and I said, from now on, if you're not enjoying it, stop doing it.
Right.
So if I stop enjoying it, I'll go fishing or something.
Got you. So let me ask you this. We can all see actually that you've got a ton of experience. What's your background education wise? Did you go to college? Did you go to high school? Did you go to trade school? Did you get any type of formal training that's made you what you are now in terms of your acumen?
Thank God, no. I spent 12 years trying to figure out how to get out of school. And then I went to college because that's what everybody said you had to do. The conventional wisdom is everybody gets out and goes to school. So I thought I wanted to be an attorney. So I took pre-law. Mm-hmm. And I had some, I guess back then they didn't know what it was, but whether it was dyslexia, but I had some issues with comprehension when I read. Mm-hmm. I don't have that now, but when I was a kid, so it made it very difficult in school.
Right.
And so when I was working for Publix, and I was working there at that time it was 44 hours a week. Mm-hmm. And I was taking 12 hours of school and something had to go because I was burning out. Mm. And so I quit school and stayed with Publix and then worked my way up the ranks in Publix and became a manager and then retired. But so I never had any formal education, mm-hmm. but I was like a sponge, like those other people I told you I like working with. Right. But I like to work with people that were successful so that I could learn what they did.
Right.
And, it's too many people try to learn from people who are their peers. Mm. And if you're failing and you're trying to learn from other people who are failing, you're just going to fail.
Right.
Okay. So my idea of growth is to always find somebody, if not a lot smarter, a little smarter than you, learn from them, and then do it again, and then do it again. And at the same time, find somebody down here that you can do that with, bring them up. Okay. Right. And so, I think that's the way you learn. And I think that's you can't go from the bottom all the way to the top. I mean, it's a learning process, right. And you got to get to the point to where but making mistakes is right. Okay. Okay. Right. Because you don't remember what you did right. You damn well remember what you did wrong. Yeah.
That's the truth.
You just don't want to duplicate it.
Yeah. Honestly, it's funny that you mentioned that you didn't go to, school to get a formal quote unquote business education. And quite frankly, neither did I. But and I also think it's funny that you said, what did you say? God, no. And what's so funny is I am so grateful that I didn't take that path either.
Yeah.
Because, I found that a lot of times in business, a lot of the problems that folks who actually go to school for business sometimes, and, this is no dig against anybody who's gone.
No, I got you.
God bless you. But the reality is I find that sometimes they have more challenges with solving problems because,
they do.
Number one, what you've learned 4 or 5 years ago or 20 years ago, unfortunately, a lot of it, basic business principles, I think, will always universally apply, but the conditions around business has changed. And so many factors are different that you have to be able to think on your feet. And you can't start off in the box. Mm-hmm. And you have to stay open in terms of, I would say, your flexibility mentally as to how you're going to solve the problem. And that in and of itself, I think, was probably what gave me my X factor to learn how to get my business concepts to work. Because in the beginning, it caused me to fail a lot, but I didn't know any rules.
Yeah, well, I always ask people this. I don't know what if we had people enlist in the military and we gave them a book on how to win a war, and then we told them to go out and fight. Okay, we'd be massacred. Okay, we'd have the fundamentals, but until you're doing it, you ain't getting it. And it's the same thing in business. You can. I'm not saying that I'm not dissing education by any
right. Me either.
Right. There's a certain amount of tools you can learn possibly, and there's certain
absolutely.
But until you're actually in practice doing it, you don't understand it. And usually by the time you get done learning what you learned in school, it's changed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Especially today. I mean, we're like in an MTV world. It's like boom, 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 boom. So, and that's why I have to study all the time, because things have changed in the last 5 years. So I'm not dissing it, but I'm saying, when I say thank God I took business and I dropped out of the course because I literally was sleeping. I mean, it was boring and I wasn't digesting, and what they were training me was not going to make me successful.
Right.
And maybe they're just saying I went to a bad school. No, I just don't think it was effective. Maybe it's effective for some people. Okay, if it is, great, do it. But it wasn't for me. And so you asked me if I had that. No, I did not have any formal training.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I definitely don't knock education in any form, period. No. I think, what I think it is, honestly, I think what gets missed goes back to the thing I like to call the nuance. It's the psychology and those intangible factors that are more emotionally and psychologically based. Mm-hmm. I think that take more folks out of business.
Yeah.
You can have all the book sense in the world, but if you don't have heart, when it comes to this, you can forget it. So you have to bring all of yourself. I think it was T.D. Jakes that said, imagine if you were to invest your whole self. And that's what anything in the arts, because my first 25 years was not in business. It was in the arts. Well, I would say a different type of it. It was in show business. And I eventually transitioned into just business, but you have to have heart for both.
Yeah, you do.
or you will not make it. I don't care how smart you are.
No,
you won't make it.
That's right. And I will tell you a word that I think is misused a lot, and that's passion. I think it's important to have passion, but sometimes it's oversold. I've heard the saying that, if you're passionate about something, the money will follow. That is a load of BS. Okay.
Right.
You better be passionate about success. Okay. If you just want to be passionate, go join the Peace Corps. Okay. Because it's nice to be passionate. The example I always give is that I love reading bumper stickers on the back of other people's cars, but I will not put one on mine. I hate bumper stickers. Okay. But you give me 10,000 people that want a bumper sticker. I don't have to be passionate about it. I'll sell them a bumper sticker. Okay.
Right.
So, passion goes just so far. It's great if you're also passionate about what you do, but it's not a priority. If you're passionate about success, be successful, whatever you do.
Right. I couldn't agree more. So I got another question for you, Carl. What do you think the difference is? How would you describe the difference between a business coach and a business consultant for those that are trying to figure out, should they go after both? Should they look for one or the other? How would you define the difference between the two?
Okay. I didn't know you were going to ask that, and I'm so glad you did. Okay. I was also in the financial planning business for 9 years. Okay. I did financial planning. I had all the licenses, Series 7, all of them. Okay. And I would be talking to somebody and I'd say, do you have a financial consultant? Oh yeah, I have a tax guy that does my finances. I say, he's not a financial planner, is he? Well, he handles, he knows all that stuff. I said, I don't think so. And so I said, the difference between a financial planner and a tax guy, I have a tax guy. I don't do taxes. I don't want to pretend to be one. Right. And I think a coach and a consultant really should be separated. I work as a consultant with clients of coaches. Okay. The thing is that you can't be all things to all people. You really can't, or you shouldn't try. If you're a good coach, coaching is about accountability. That's taking what you learned from the consultant and then having the coach make sure you're accountable to get those things done. Right. And so I really think that I know a half dozen. They say, oh, I'm a consultant / coach or a coach / consultant. Well, I tell everybody, I said, I know you're not gonna believe this, but I don't know everything. Okay. Even as a consultant, I don't know everything. Right. And that's why I started networking, so that I could find people that knew things that I didn't know, so that as a consultant, I could get them to help my clients. Right. So I think, coaches, I think that's great. I'm not a coach. I don't want to be a coach because I don't want to call you. I've had kids and I've had employees. I don't want to call you next week to make sure you did your homework. I don't want to do that. I'm a consultant. You need consulting. I'm here. But no, I'm not going to keep you accountable. I'm not going to be responsible for your success or failure. I'm here to guide you the best I can. So I don't pretend to be a coach. I don't want to be one. You need one. I'll get you one. Right.
Great definition. Great
my opinion.
Yeah, I've done a little bit of both, but these days I'm actually doing more consulting than coaching. Yeah. And that's for a reason. And pretty much some of it is what you just said, because you get burnt out.
You do.
Honestly, doing both for sure. And you're right. I definitely think that what I like about consulting personally is the fact that I can just give you the answer. Yeah. The rest is up to you.
That's right.
It's totally different in terms of the methodologies that you use to help a person. And
and you can help more people.
That's true.
If I was coaching, I would have a limit as to how many people I could help.
That's true. Very true. Especially if you're going to be effective.
Yeah.
Okay. So now this brings me to my next question, which is, what do you think that it takes to be a good consultant? What should people look for in a consultant if they're going to get one?
Well, make sure they've already have some life experience. Okay.
You said life experience.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Why life experience? I notice you're not excluding business experience.
No,
but
no,
I think
no.
you chose your words carefully. Can you explain why you said life experience?
Yeah, because to be totally honest with you, I think coaches work more with the business. I work more with the people. Because if the people's head is not right, or if I don't necessarily mean not right, if I find that they are not in it to win it, and they are not refusing to fail, if they are taking this as a, well, if it works, okay, if it doesn't work, okay, I might tell them I have nothing for you. Okay. So they have to be able to almost be a psychologist. You have to know where the person's frame of mind is, find out what that is to start with, and then build on that. And I think a good consultant understands and knows their client better. I don't care what business you're in. It really doesn't matter to me because I can work with a CEO. I'm working with a guy that sold a $3.5 million company, and now he's doing a piece of software, and he's putting $1.5 million in that. It doesn't matter whether he's doing software that I don't have to know anything about, the software or that business, or I can work with somebody that is making candles in their back bedroom. It doesn't matter, but I have to know what their frame of mind is. So find somebody, and I've had that life experience personally. Okay. This is all my opinion, obviously, but I've had that life experience to know what I need to have in a frame of mind to be successful. And I want somebody, if I'm going to hire a consultant, to also have that frame of mind, and also not to have such a big ego that, hey, I know everything, because you don't, and I don't.
Right.
But you have to have somebody that is willing to work with people that know stuff to help your client. Okay. Because I don't care who you are, you don't know everything. I think the billionaires that are successful will tell you they don't know everything.
Right. Well, the funny thing about those guys is they've got coaches and consultants.
I know.
That's what's fun. And I always tell people, listen, guys, don't just pay attention to what these guys have accomplished. Look at what they do. Try to emulate some of the things that they do, because it makes sense. You have one, some of the most successful people in the world with 4 or 5 coaches that specialize in different areas. They're leveraging all 5 of those people and all that life experience you just mentioned to their one life.
That's
and
right.
That's just brilliant, you know? So yeah, absolutely. So we got to come in for a landing real soon. So I got to punch in a lot of questions here in a short period of time.
We'll do a lightning round.
Yeah, we're going to do a lightning round. There you go. Okay, so can you tell us a little bit about what you do at Success Builders?
Yeah, it's because of the networking. I'm on several different platforms. I people don't believe it, but I offer to do free consulting for 1 year for anybody. Okay, and they can call me, once a day, twice a day, once a week, once a month, once a year. I don't care. They can contact me, and I will spend time with them, or I will review something, or they'll say, hey, what do you think of this brochure? What do you think of this sales pitch? What do you think I ought to do with my website here? What about this video script? And I will give them my opinions and try to help them. Generally, a call won't last more than 15 minutes, but then I have some that are 30 minutes to an hour. Okay. But it generally only takes an hour. I mean, I don't have a limit. I mean, if we need 2 hours, we'll spend 2 hours, but that way I can help a lot of people. And I also learn from them, by the way, so because I find out what they're doing. Oh, geez, I need to do that. I need to, look into that. So that's what I do. I mean, I do it, I don't do meetings on Saturdays and Sundays, but I'm doing other stuff on Saturdays and Sundays business wise. But Monday through Friday, I'm doing that all day long. If I'm not in somebody else's group meeting or, Zoom now, is the way you do it. But that's kind of what I do. It's it's really pretty simple. I'm just here to consult. I'm here to, you want me to review something. You want to pick my brain on a sales pitch or whatever.
That's super cool.
Well, it's fun.
Yeah, that's super cool. If anybody is listening to this show today, you hear what he just said. I'm hoping you guys are taking notes on that one, and we'll make sure we have his contact information at the end of the show. So yeah, with that said, let me ask you this. What would you say a business owner can do to make running their business easier?
Don't try to do it yourself. Don't make it linear. The thing is running your business. That's a pretty big.
Yeah, pretty broad question. Let me bring that in for you. Let's just say somebody's having a challenge with, let's say, growth. You know, they want to expand their business. They're trying to figure out how to scale their business. Is there a framework, or is there anything that you can possibly offer to someone who may be having that challenge, how they can go about solving it?
Well, find a consultant, okay, that's going to help you, okay? And then you have to be willing to invest in yourself and in your company. If you are going to rely on YouTube to be successful, how's that going to work for you? Okay, you can get a lot of valuable information, but the thing is implementing it is another story.
That's right.
So find somebody that's willing to work with you and help you, and rely on other people. Quit this, DIY crap. Okay, because it just, I really think that's a key, is relying on other people to help you, because they will.
I agree. Yeah, couldn't agree more. So, Carl, given all the things that's happening in the news, the food shortages, the gas prices, the inflation, cryptocurrency crashing, stocks dropping, what advice would you give to business owners just looking at the lay of the land and getting a little bit afraid? Do you have any advice for folks that are trying to figure out what they should do for their businesses to position themselves for a possible recession?
I personally believe, and we are we're in May of 22, and I firmly believe we are going to have a recession. I could be wrong, but so far, unfortunately, I've been pretty right. I've been through two of them. Okay, I went through one in the 70s, which was pretty bad, and then I went through the one, after 2008.
Right.
It seems that it's kind of like a hurricane. Everybody hates hurricanes, but when they get through, everything comes back greener and cleaner and rebuilt, right?
Right.
So figure a way to hold on, number one, because it's not pretty. It's not going to be easy. I'm not going to make it out to, you flip the switch and this is going to do it. Listen to, once again, do some research. Find out how other people are pivoting. You may have to pivot what you're doing just to sustain. If you want to go back the way you were once the hurricane passes, that's fine. But if you need to. But I mean, it's like restaurants. They're having a hell of a time. Right. They're having a hard time just getting hire people. Right. So they had to do pick up at the door. They had to do, Uber Eats and stuff like that. You've got to pivot, no matter what kind of business you have, brick and mortar or individually. People don't have a lot of extra money. I mean, wealthy people, it's not going to affect at all.
Right.
But if if it's the middle and lower, run of businesses and people buying, they don't have a lot of money. So if you can figure a way to serve those people, even if you're just breaking even, you want to get through the hurricane.
That's right.
Because it's going to come back. It always does. Right. It's cyclical. Okay. We're going to always have these, I don't care what administration you like or dislike. You're always going to have these. Okay.
Right.
But it's sometimes they're going to be bad. Sometimes they're not going to be so bad, but you have to learn to pivot.
That's just very, very, very good advice, and that's so true. And this is why, a few years ago I did a whole series on the fourth industrial revolution, and it was titled Adapt or Die. And I honestly feel like, as we keep pushing forward, people's ability to be able to learn, unlearn, relearn everything that is literally going to be your means of survival, both in business and in life. I mean, I think that's where we are right now. You cannot be so married or attached, which is the word I really want to use, to anything.
No, you can't.
I do mean anything.
Well, the old saying still comes to mind. It's still true that when you get lemons, make lemonade.
That's right.
You know,
That's right.
You know, somebody throws lemons at you, just make lemonade.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, so Carl, the moment that I've been waiting for.
The end?
Right, the end. No, the moment I've been waiting for. The top 3 things. Okay, so everybody get your gym bags, your pens, your paper. So we can get from the man, the myth, and the legend, Carl Lucchi, the top 3 things that you can do tomorrow to make your business more successful.
Okay. Well, we already covered it, but the biggest thing I think is research your business, but also research their business, because I guarantee you they're researching your business. So you want to be distinct in your business. You want to be different. You want to be attractable. The second thing is don't follow conventional wisdom. Just because you find something that everybody else is doing, question it. I'm not saying it's wrong, but 97% of the time it is.
Right.
So so question that. And the third thing is be persistent and consistent, because it is not easy. Success is not easy in general. So be persistent and consistent. And if you had a bad day yesterday, you can't change that. That's done. It's done. It's over with. Start over today. Okay. It's stinking thinking. If you're going to worry about what happened to me, so what? You can't change that. If you had something happen good to you, so what? You can't change that either. Right. You know, if it worked and you can remember what you did to make it work, apply it. If you did something wrong, get rid of it. Okay. And then you will build to where you're going to be successful. And then rely on others, get a mentor. I still say that's important. So there's 4 things really.
Okay, awesome. Gave us 4, guys. He gave us 4 instead of 3.
Well, that was a bonus.
Delivered. Okay, Carl, what types of tools or software do you recommend that can assist business owners to run their business? Anything you like in particular?
Well, I was late to the game on online calendars. Okay, now I use Google Calendar. There's a lot of them out there. Okay. My Google Calendar went down one day and I panicked.
Yeah, me too.
I live by that calendar if I don't have it, because we're in such a fast-paced world now that we need, we have electronics that are telling us what to do. Okay. Wow. And maybe that's not so good, because I still own a Rolodex, by the way. A lot of people don't know what that is. I still write stuff down, but I don't use a lot of different software.
Right.
I will sometimes recommend, like the one guy that's developing a software for a business. It's fantastic. It's on how to make your employees accountable and know what's happening. I don't personally need that, but I will sometimes utilize software that somebody else has if it will benefit me. But mainly my computer and the calendar. I keep it pretty simple. I don't use much.
Yeah. I use a ton of software.
Yeah.
But I will say this, I'm with you 100%. When I discovered Google Calendar, and I'll be honest, I was a little late to the game too.
Yeah.
But when I started using it, there's nothing like it, especially if you're by yourself, you don't have an extra assistant. I love Google Calendar. Actually, I use Calendly a lot as well. That's another wonderful, simple software. But okay, cool. Well, that's it, folks. We've run out of time. Carl, you've been phenomenal, sir. Thank you so much for joining us and dropping so many gems.
It's been fun.
Yes, thank you. As always, folks, all of these different, at least as many as I can gather, they will be in the show notes from the show. And before we go, Carl, how can people get in contact with you, sir?
Well, it's pretty easy. I've got several ways to get a hold of me, but I have a phone number that I have no problem giving people. It's right there behind me. It's 727-458-7683. I would appreciate a text versus a call, because a lot of times I am on the phone and I'm not going to get to you anyway. That, or you can email me at successbuilders-tampabay.com. Info at successbuilders-tampabay.com, or go to the website successbuilders-tampabay.
Awesome. As always, folks, it'll be in the show notes as well. So if you're listening to this on the podcast, you know where to look to get the link. All right. You guys, thank you so much for joining us today. Take care. God bless. And I will see you in the next episode.
Thanks, Mayo.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.